Hey, Mike here from Basstime Non-Fish. What's happening? So this next segment is basically kind of going over, you know, the good old PJ bass I have, and just a basic little practice amp with no effects pedals. It's all straight in. It is crying for its life, I think, through the video. It actually sounds pretty cool. Probably for some, it may not have, this is just an idea of a demo of simplicity. It's not about everybody looking for that, oh man, I'm not hearing the big back, big bottom and round tone. It's a little 8-inch woofer sitting on a table. So, if I DI'd this bass and really did it upright, we'd be shaking walls with low end and whatever. But the idea was just, it's about the bass, not the rig, as much as we love those rigs. So check it out coming up. Thanks. What's going on? So, I've been seeing a lot of like, hey, what should I do? Starting out playing bass, whatever. Should I get a good amp and an okay bass? Well, obviously I would rather think the obvious. You want a good bass because you want to be inspired. Pick it up, play. Amplifiers you can manipulate, kind of get your sound close, discover sounds. There's pedals, there's everything. The way I kind of approach things was I've got this custom-made jazz bass, and what I did was my first bass I bought was a Rickenbacker because it had 2 volumes, 2 tones, and I was a Rush fan. And if it was good enough for Geddy, it was good enough for me. But did I know what the heck I was doing with the thing when I first started? So it was quite the elaborate bass to play. But me, technically, I had thought, well, a volume and a tone per pickup. Where can you go wrong with that? You have control over their tonal capabilities. Active passive is a whole other animal of things. This is an active bass, and these are alembic pickups. But the concept I go after on my bass is I want to be able to think simple, even though I can think equalization, pretty technical, doing sound and all that. The point is, when I'm playing on stage, and I just want to do a little adjustments. I don't want to redo the amp or a pedal board or get crazy. So I always relied on, my bass having the best sound it could have. And of course, you can do the old, well, Mike, all you need is a P bass, or all you need is a jazz bass. That's it. Yeah, I get it. Comment section. Cool. But, there's so much out there and so much flexibility on things. But at least take the basic journey of the good old, I'll bring this down to the P-bass pickups. So here's everything off, right? And I got volume, volume, tone, tone. Volume and tone for these, volume, tone for this, right? So I'll bring up the neck pickup. And right now the tone's rolled off. Now, I can get like a, right? I'm not auditioning for Zeppelin or anybody today, so, put a cap on the playing, right? So I'm just trying to get tones. So what I found cool with these pickups and just a set of P-bass position pickups, you get that nice rock and roll growly. Now I'm playing through a little tiny amp. I had to pull the mid-range back well on the low end. So the idea is I'm just playing through just a cruddy little practice amp that's got crackly pots. I gotta clean the pots on this, but right, so you can get all kinds of sounds out of it. So like I said, you can go and get that. You get some really kind of cool low or like a reggae kind of thing. You can bring it all the way up and get, I am not going to try doing slapping. I had to give it up because I got a screwed up thumb, and if I start whacking the strings with it, it gets aggravated, and I'm down to, I'm losing finger stuff. So anyways, so you can, there it is, just, that's it. I did not even turn on the jazz pickup. P-bass, amp. But I did go after, you know, a better pickup system. So I did see a lot of people say, oh, you know, I got a $400 bass and I don't know if I should put pickups in. I always say if the wood is good, the neck stays straight, it's stable, it plays great, you love the thing, looks cool, yeah, put some parts in it. So my craziness, I went with alembics. And that's a whole other thing I've got to do a segment on. But the point was, having some flexibility out of just one bass and an amp, and I'm pedal board nuts now. I've got distortion and all that kind of thing going on with the pedal board analog stuff with Suncoast. But you can easily just still have a lot of fun, plug in, play a cruddy little amp, and make it nuts. Right? And so now I can get into, let's say, I don't know, a Getty thing. I was going to go after like Getty on this bass and not even touch the bridge pickups, and it's going to be a certain Getty, probably like a Free Will off the album Free Will. Like I always remember it would be more like a close. And I got dead strings. I'm not even using rotos. So you can get maybe a little more. That's just my P's, man. So I always remember that on Free Will, you know. Now I know there's going to be a million people in the comment section. Oh, it was this and that with an A. I know, I get it, but just saying, here it is. Just the P's, not even digging into the whole jazz bass thing. But you know, I bring in the bridge pickup, and you can do some really wild stuff. So I'll roll back the P's, and the bridge is the same idea. You can hear the alembic filter come in. Right. So I'm just playing nonsense. With that, I found you can get like a right, but now I gotta add a little low end. So I'll leave the tone way down on the P's, bring in a little bottom end underneath it, like so you get the. If I took the P's out, it'd be this. Right, so you get. My thumb, like so you get all kinds of like crazy tone just off of one bass, little amp, do a little bit of manipulation on the EQ, and on your way you go. The interesting thing was I was playing a gig. It was actually a jam night. And the interesting thing about this bass was I was playing at a jam night. The drummer from Rat Race Choir had invited me down to China Club, and it was a jam, and you know, all pretty heavy hitter players. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I brought this bass, and here's the point. first of all, T.M. Stevens was playing, and first time I really got to see him play. Guy was wild, and it said TM's weapon across his bass, and he pretty much melted my face off. And then you go up after him to play. And I was like, wait, what? I'm going to go play after him? Like the jam nights after his show? Like, what are you kidding me? So I get up there and like, okay, my face is melted off. I can't see. I'm trying to hear everything. No, but what happened was, so I get up and I play with Steve and TM's backup band. And we did like a Trower tune and something else. And I played my ass off without overdoing it. And he was sitting out in the audience, right? So, trying to keep my shit together while I'm playing. And I held my own and I did okay. And I get off stage and I'm walking off. And I'm floating around towards the end of the China Club, and TM's sitting over near the end of the bar, and he's like, yo, dude, come here. I'm like, uh-oh, what's up, He's like, man, what bass guitar is that? It's just my jazz bass I built with Alembics. He says, dude, you cut through the mix all the way out to here, like, unbelievable. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat, So, you never know. You put a little bit into a bass, but a lot of it is you got to listen to what you're trying to do with your tone control, as you hopefully caught what I was doing as I was dialing in sounds, hearing where things are going to bite. You pay attention to where your tones are going to be interacting with an amp or something. So, yeah, that's my little story with this bass. And if you're kind of getting off the ground, it's almost the dead obvious thing. Try and get something decent. You don't have to buy something for $10,000, because I've actually played, a $10,000 bass, and it played really well, but it didn't really talk to me. It just like this didn't have the neck dimensions and things, and it just didn't work for me. So you can have anything from $300 up as long as it stays stable, but it's down to the simple bass, set a P bass, maybe a PJ or jazz bass, and then you attack the amp and start learning how to manipulate what you're doing with an amp. Right on. Peace out.